Okay, let's go. All right, everyone. Let's begin at the beginning. No, not that one. This one. A long, long time ago, maybe as long as 300,000 years back, there was a species of human being called Homo sapiens. They were smart, had bigger brains than their primate cousins, and they used language to share ideas, flint tools to hunt wild animals, and fire to cook their food. They lived in small groups and relied on cooperation to survive. They might have painted pictures on cave walls and buried their dead with ceremony. But what really set them apart was their big brains and their ability to work together. As the world changed, these clever humans followed the herds of woolly mammoths and giant bison across the open plains and through the forests. They made camps wherever they could find food, water, and shelter. And as they moved from place to place, they hunted for food. This was the life of an early human. Not easy, but not boring either. There was always something new to discover, a new animal to hunt, a new plant to try. For early humans, life was a challenge, but it was also an adventure. Hello, and welcome to this channel. In this video, we are going to learn about the life of the early people who lived in the Stone Age. We will talk about how they found food, where they lived, and how they made tools. We will also talk about how they changed the world and how the world changed them. So let's go back in time and find out what life was like for the early people. So imagine you are a member of a small group of early humans. You travel from place to place, hunting animals and gathering food. You live in small shelters made of wood and leaves. Your life is hard, but you are strong and clever. Now imagine your group discovers a new place with lots of plants and animals to eat. You stay there for a while and start making tools and weapons. You learn to farm and raise animals. Your life becomes easier and you can even build a home. This is how the agricultural revolution began. It was a time when people learned to farm and raise animals. This made food more reliable and led to big changes in how people lived. Around 12,000 years ago, after the Ice Age ended, the climate became warmer and wetter. This helped plants and animals thrive and gave early humans more food to eat. The end of the Ice Age and the beginning of the warmer climate period created perfect conditions for the agricultural revolution to begin. The Fertile Crescent in the Middle East was one of the first places where people started farming. This area is now part of several countries, including Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel. The Fertile Crescent had all the things early humans needed to farm, like rivers, plants, and warm weather. Farming started around 10,000 years ago when people noticed that if they planted seeds, they would grow into plants that could be eaten. They also saw that if they took care of animals, they could use them for food, clothing, and work. At first, farming was hard work. People had to clear fields by hand and use simple tools made of stone and wood. But over time, they got better at it and started using metal tools, which made things much easier. As farming became more productive, people had more food to eat, and some of them even started raising livestock. This meant they didn't have to move from place to place to find food and could stay in one area all the time. This way of life is called sedentary, and it is different from the nomadic life that early humans had before. When early humans were nomadic, they traveled from place to place, following the animals they hunted or the plants they gathered. They didn't stay in one area for very long, because they needed to keep moving to find food. But when they started farming, they could stay in one place and grow their own food. That's why the agricultural revolution was such a big deal. It completely changed the way early humans lived. The agricultural revolution happened at different times in different places. In the Middle East, it started around 10,000 years ago. In Africa, it started around 8,000 years ago. And in Central America, it started around 2,000 years ago. But no matter where it started, the result was the same. People started living in groups and became less nomadic. They also started raising livestock and growing crops like wheat, barley, and rice. Some historians say that the agricultural revolution was the most important event in human history. It led to the development of villages, towns, and cities. It also led to the invention of new technologies and the creation of new jobs. Before agriculture, people had to spend all their time looking for food. But when they started farming, they had more free time. This meant that people could start doing other things besides farming, like making tools, raising livestock, or trading goods. The extra food that farming produced also meant that some people didn't have to farm at all. They could stay in one place and take care of children, the sick, or the old. This allowed some people to develop new skills and become experts in certain areas. And guess what? Our story doesn't end here. There's more to come. What happened next changed everything. After the agricultural revolution, people started living in groups and became less nomadic. They also started raising livestock and growing crops like wheat, barley, and rice. This led to the birth of settlements. At first, settlements were just small groups of huts. But as more people came to live there, they grew into larger communities. These early settlements were like the first steps toward building cities. As settlements grew, people started to specialize in different jobs. Some people became farmers, growing food for the community. Others became potters, making bowls and other useful items from clay. Still, others became builders, making houses and other structures. Some people became leaders, helping to make decisions for the community. As settlements grew, people also started to trade with each other. They traded goods and services, and this led to the development of new technologies and new ways of doing things. For example, as people started to trade more, they needed a way to keep track of who owed what to whom. This led to the invention of writing. They also needed a way to keep their settlements safe from outside threats. This led to the development of early forms of government and law. In Mesopotamia, one of the earliest civilizations, people started to develop early forms of writing and math. They also built ziggurats, which were large stepped towers that served as both religious and administrative centers. In Egypt, people developed a system of hieroglyphics, which was one of the first writing systems. They also built pyramids, which were huge structures that served as tombs for their pharaohs. As settlements grew, people also started to form different social classes. Farmers, traders, artisans, and leaders all had different levels of wealth and power. This led to the development of social hierarchies and sometimes inequality. Unfortunately, the growth of settlements also led to conflict. As people became wealthier, they wanted more land and resources. This led to warfare and even slavery. But despite these challenges, the birth of settlements marked a significant step forward in human history. It was the beginning of civilization and the start of more complex societies, cultures, and ways of life. From these early settlements grew the first cities and empires. And from these small groups of farmers and traders emerged the great civilizations of the ancient world. After the agricultural revolution, the world would never be the same. Life for early humans was about to change in big ways. This time period is known as the Bronze Age, which started around 4,000 years ago and lasted until 2,000 years ago. During this time, people learned to use bronze to make tools and weapons, which were stronger and lasted longer than stone tools. This made farming more efficient and helped to produce more food. During the Bronze Age, early humans also started to use wheeled vehicles, which made it easier to move goods and people. They also developed new technologies like the plow, which made farming easier. These innovations led to more food production and a growing population. People started to live in larger settlements and cities. One of the biggest changes during the Bronze Age was the rise of empires. An empire is a group of states and territories ruled by a single leader or government. One of the first known empires was the Akkadian Empire in Mesopotamia, which lasted from 2334 BC to 2154 BC. Another famous empire of this time was the Egyptian Empire, which lasted for centuries and was known for its rich culture and powerful pharaohs. These technological advancements and the rise of empires brought many benefits to early humans. They led to greater wealth and power for some, as well as the spread of new ideas and cultures. However, they also had their downsides. For example, the use of bronze and iron tools led to deforestation as more land was cleared for farming and grazing. This caused soil erosion and made it harder to grow food. Additionally, the growth of cities and empires led to social inequality and the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few. Still, the Bronze Age was a time of great innovation and change for early humans. It marked the transition from small, scattered settlements to large, complex civilizations. It was a time when people started to organize themselves into larger groups and develop more sophisticated ways of living. And that's it for this video, folks. If you enjoyed learning about the lives of early people, please leave a comment below telling us what you thought. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our exciting videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.